What's up guys, welcome back to another Black Ops Cold War video, and today's video is about some huge leaks. This is like the biggest leaks we've gotten so far about this game, and this describes so much stuff about the game in general, about campaign, multiplayer, and about Warzone. We don't have almost any information about zombies at this point. We do hear a little bit about zombies in this, but I want to preface this saying that this is all coming from Xclusive Ace. He posted a YouTube video back on June 24th, I believe, about all these leaks, but then Activision asked him to take down the video, obviously because like all these leaks are legit, and also he's like, a hashtag COD partner and stuff, and so they're like, hey, please don't leak out our game, we really want you to take down that video, or they could have copyright struck it or whatever. I don't think that's likely because he didn't show any gameplay, but apparently Activision just asked him to take down the video, in which he complied. So you can't find his original video out there, at least on YouTube, unless people have re-uploaded it, but I've transcribed pretty much everything he said in that video, so I have all of the information he gave out, which I'll be sharing with you guys. So, but one quick thing before we get into this, and that's that I will not really be sharing my opinion on any of this stuff in this video. I'm thinking about doing that in a separate video, talking about all these things that are going to be happening in this game, and why I think it could be a good or a bad thing or whatever else. This is just going to be all just straight information. So, here we go. He says that his source is somebody who works close with the game and has shared assets and game clips of Black Ops Cold War with him. It doesn't list like who his source is. I mean, obviously he's not gonna like rat this person out and be like, hey, this person shared with me all this information. Not gonna give any stuff like that, but like the information he got is pretty legit. He's seen actual game assets and stuff that can't be faked. And he's a pretty reliable YouTuber. I mean, he's a pretty stand-up guy, so I trust what he says here. But he said that all this information is coming from like a few months ago all the way up until now. So some of this information might not be 100% accurate as to the here and now of the game. Stuff gets changed all the time in game development, so some of this stuff is up to change. So first thing he says about this game is that it is 100% set in the Cold War. We've known this for a while now. That's why we've called the title Black Ops Cold War. And it's also codenamed Zeus, which we've heard about from other sources. That's not anything new, but codename Zeus. All games have code names, and they're all like in development. They're not going to just call it Black Ops 5 or Black Ops Cold War. They're going to have a code name for it to be worked on. So he was also saying that his source told him that initially Activision and Treyarch were targeting Q3 of 2020, which would have put the release date at about September. But obviously that is 100% not happening now. One, because September is only 2 months away and the game hasn't even been announced yet. And also COVID-19 and everything else going on in the world at the moment. Treyarch is having to work from home and develop the game from home, and they are apparently really struggling right now with the game. And there's a lot of issues with it, so it has apparently been delayed to early Q4 of this year. Activision also confirmed that this year's game is going to be actually coming out this year and won't be delayed until next year. So early Q4 is about like November or December. So Q4 is pretty much what we expected, where it's really unlikely to see an October release date, most likely November or possibly even into December. But he says that the game currently is in a pretty good state. That's actually kind of conflicting as to what a lot of people have said about the game. A lot of people have reported the game is in a really bad state at the moment, but he says it's in pretty good state. He says that a lot of the multiplayer maps, they're mostly done. He says the campaign is in a, quote, fully playable state. He says that there's some incomplete animations and there's some like text-to-speech stuff, so obviously they need to do like voiceover work for all the characters in the game and all that stuff. But apparently the campaign is playable, and there's just a little bit more work to be done. Like the campaign is pretty much done. They just need to like tweak it, and, like polish it up and stuff, complete the rest of it. But he says that in this game there is Warzone, campaign, zombies, and multiplayer. That's actually kind of cool. I think this is actually going to be the most packed Call of Duty game we've ever had so far. I mean, previously I would say Black Ops 4 was the most like jam-packed game full of content, where we had multiplayer, zombies, blackout, and kind of a mini campaign mode. But this one's actually going to have a full fat campaign mode. It's going to have a battle royale for Warzone. It's going to have zombies and, of course, multiplayer. So there's going to be a lot of stuff in this game. And Ace says that he has actually seen the Warzone map. He said he really only saw like the overview of the map and the locations of all the different areas of the Warzone map. But he's seen some other assets and some video clips and stuff too. But now let's get into some actual in-game content and stuff that's actually going to affect the gameplay. So first thing, this is huge. He says that there is a standard minimap in this game. That means it is not the Modern Warfare system. So he says it was previously set up to be the Modern Warfare system, but now it's changed to the standard minimap where bullets will show up on your minimap. So if you shoot an unsuppressed weapon, you're going to show up on the minimap just like every other Call of Duty game has done that. Modern Warfare was the only one that didn't do that, which is really dumb. There also is not going to be a fog of war in this game. It says the compass is returning in the top center of the screen. Next gameplay thing he leaked is that there's going to be no mounting or leaning. This could be a good thing for challenges, especially because that's something that a lot of people disliked with Modern Warfare. Those challenges about mounting and leaning just promotes camping is all it does. And he says that speaking of like movement and stuff, there is going to be sliding instead of dolphin diving. And there's also going to be swimming, so that means there's going to be water in a bunch of the multiplayer maps, just like in Black Ops 3 and in 4. So you're going to be able to swim around, kill people in the water, jump out of the water. You can be able to swim. It's not like other games where you hop in water and you die for some reason. And in the middle of the Warzone map, there is going to be water. It's going to have a lake in the middle of it, so you can be able to swim in the Warzone map. I mean, Blackout has swimming, so it's going to be like that as well. Another gameplay thing about movement is that there's going to be a standard sprint. There is no tactical sprint like Modern Warfare. So what I mean here is that in Modern Warfare, it has like 2 levels of sprint. It has your normal sprint, and then it has like a super duper tactical sprint where your gun goes like all the way up and you sprint a little bit faster, but then it takes longer to pull your gun out and stuff. It's really awkward and weird. I just like having just a normal sprint. And he says that sprint in this game will be unlimited. There will just be an unlimited standard sprint. No 2 levels where your gun like almost goes away. Just gonna be standard sprint where it has unlimited duration. So you're gonna be able to sprint around the map without having to stop and take a breather or whatever. Like you can just unlimitedly sprint. He also says that there is going to be no doors in multiplayer, but Warzone will have them. This is a great thing. And multiplayer, no doors. Warzone will have doors, just like how the Modern Warfare Warzone map also has doors. So probably to keep it in line, same kind of thing with that. He says that he has seen overview images of 9 multiplayer maps. So he says that there is 10 multiplayer maps so far in the game. He's only seen overview images of 9 of them. And he says that these maps are 3-lane maps, so pretty much Treyarch standard maps. This is what Treyarch has been doing since basically Black Ops 2. Black Ops 2 pioneered the 3-lane map system. Black Ops 3 had them, and Black Ops 4 had them. That's what Treyarch does. And I think that's why Treyarch games are so competitive and so much like more fun to play, at least in my opinion, is because it's 3-lane maps, a lot less cluster on the map. And he says that there is one big open map, and it's not like a 3-lane map, so it's more like a Modern Warfare or Infinity Ward map. He says there's a few big maps, not like the normal Treyarch style. And he says one of the maps is a really small map. It's a boat in the middle of the Black Sea, so think kind of like Hijacked. It's not actually Hijacked, the layout isn't like Hijacked, but kind of think it's going to be kind of similar to that, a small map like that. And he says that there is one multiplayer map titled Mall, which is a really complex map based on the overview. Another one is called Satellite. He says he saw a video clip of this map. He says it takes place in the desert and is a bright and open map. And he says there's a couple of caves in it, but it's not like the Azir Caves map from Modern Warfare. He says the majority of the fighting will take place actually outside, and he says it gives him a lot of Afghan vibes from Modern Warfare 2. Next multiplayer map is Tank. He says this is where the leaked gameplay actually came from. So we had some leaked gameplay of multiplayer a little while ago. It was like if somebody on a screen recording another screen, and it was on Tank. I made a video about that before, but he says, of course, this is obviously another multiplayer map. It's a small to mid-sized map and has competitive 3-lane map. Another multiplayer map is called Tundra. It is a snowy map. That's all we really know about that one. Another one is called KGB. It's a small map, similar to the size of Shoot House. And then the other multiplayer maps they have in the game, he says they aren't too interesting and they're hard to describe from map overview, and that nothing really stands out. So all these maps are new maps. None of them are remasters. So one thing I want to point out here is that he didn't mention the 4 remastered multiplayer maps that we had leaked a little while ago. We had it leaked that we were going to get 4 remastered multiplayer maps in Black Ops Cold War: Nuketown, Summit, Firing Range, and Jungle. He didn't mention those, but from those leaks we heard before, these could be coming as a kind of like a post-launch DLC, just added in as maps later on in the game. They wouldn't necessarily be launch maps, so that's most likely what's happening here. They're going to be coming up sometime after the game releases, but I would still like to be able to see, at least 1 or 2 maps that we already know and we're familiar with in the game, because I mean, only having new maps, Modern Warfare did this. Yeah, we all know how that turned out. We get crap like Piccadilly Circus, like, yeah, bunch of garbage. He says that there is no specialists in the game, but there is, quote, something like field upgrades returning. It says, special equipment that will charge up over time within the game that you can select for your class. And you can charge them up twice, so it's not like you charge it up once and it's just until you use it. You can actually charge it up once and then charge it up again. He says if you charge it once and don't use it, it will charge up a second time, but it will take longer for the second charge. He says, quote, you can hold 2 of these quote-unquote field upgrades, and his source described one of these as a piece of equipment that shoots at vehicles and streaks, so you throw it down and it will act as kind of like a portable SAM turret. And in the gameplay, he saw what it looked like Crash's assault pack from Black Ops 4, so pretty much just a pack you can get ammo and maybe grenades and stuff from, but pretty much Crash's assault pack from Black Ops 4 is one of these equipment. He says on top of field upgrades, there will also be regular equipment that you can choose for your class. They're all in the same sort of slot, so you can only choose one piece of equipment. And it's not like Black Ops 4 where it has a cooldown. You will get one every single time you spawn in. So you spawn in, you throw a grenade, you die. Well, you spawn in again, and you're going to have another grenade. So he says the equipment that he's seen so far is the combat axe, concussion grenade, flashbang, frag grenade, Molotov, satchel charge or C4, Semtex, and a smoke grenade. So these are all pretty standard equipment we've had in like every Call of Duty game. Nothing new. I would kind of like to see like new ideas, like how they had in Black Ops 2 with like the shock charge and stuff like that. I think having new equipment and stuff is always kind of cool, and cool to use any new ideas and like cool new equipment like that. But he says score streaks are returning, so it's not kill streaks like it was in Modern Warfare, thank goodness. This definitely promotes objective play. By playing the objective, you get a lot of score for that. But the score streaks he's seen is a bow, so think of Outrider's specialist ability, the kind of like a bow like that, an artillery strike, a chopper gunner, a controlled missile, so pretty much like a Predator missile or a Hellstorm, a death machine, a flamethrower, gunship, grenade launcher, a hand cannon, so basically think of Seraph's Annihilator, a light attack chopper, napalm strike, RCXD, sentry gun, strafing run, UAV or spy plane, and then a counter UAV. It's a pretty standard streaks. I think they're all pretty good. I would like to see some really cool, unique streaks come back, like dogs or the swarm or stuff like that. But all in all, I mean, it seems like a lot of these streaks are basically taking stuff we had as specialists from Black Ops 3 and 4, and are now making them score streaks. Kind of like back with Black Ops 2. Black Ops 2 had like the Death Machine and the War Machine as streaks, but then Black Ops 3 added them in as specialists. So now specialists, kind of like Seraphs, like Annihilator, Outrider's bow, the grenade launcher from Battery, and the flamethrower from Firebreak, and then also the Death Machine from Scythe, are all now going to be score streaks instead of specialists, because specialists aren't returning. Another thing that will not be in the game is dead silence. As of now, there is no dead silence in the game, whether that's being a perk or even like an equipment, as in like an ability or anything. Dead silence is not in the game at all currently. That could change, and that's really, really controversial. I know a lot of people want dead silence. I personally think dead silence is a good thing, but we'll talk about that in a separate video. Next up is that he says that there will be 150 HP in this game. I personally like that, but it doesn't necessarily mean that there will be a long time to kill, because the weapons could deal more damage. And he says that there will be auto heal, so it's not going to be like Black Ops 4 where you have to manually heal. It's going to be like every other Call of Duty game where you just automatically heal over time. Although they could have something like a stim shot in the game where you can manually heal if you want to and heal earlier or whatever. That could be in the game. As of now it's not, but there will be auto heal. And he says that the health bar is in the bottom left of the HUD, just like Black Ops 4. His source had a weapons list at one point, but the source either accidentally deleted it or just couldn't find it, so we don't know like a list of all the weapons in the game. Maybe we'll get that leaked sometime later, but he says all the gameplay that he saw was just using the same 2 weapons, and that is the AK-5. That's actually the weapon that we saw leaked in that tank gameplay, and it was also confirmed to be the AK-5 through the HUD, and then the secondary weapon they had was a Spaz 12. So also confirms that shotguns will be secondaries in this game. And for your actual creative class, he says creative class is going to be a hybrid system between the traditional Call of Duty 4 style, where you have a primary, a secondary. You got perk 1, perk 2, perk 3, a grenade, and then equipment. It's going to be kind of a hybrid between that and then the pick 10. Because pick 10 is just like you pick 10 of whatever, and that's your class. You can sacrifice a perk for another attachment or your secondary weapon for another perk. And I've loved pick 10, but apparently it's going to be a hybrid system. There will not be a gunsmith like we had in Modern Warfare. He says that you select a weapon and have X amount of attachment slots. It's not going to be pick 10 where you get like an extra attachment slot for giving up a perk. Apparently you're going to have just a certain number of attachment slots. It says there's a primary, a secondary, 3 perk tiers, equipment, and field upgrades. And there are wild cards in the game just like pick 10. So you can get multiple perks. It's not limited to just one perk 1, one perk 2, and one perk 3. You have wild cards so you can get multiple perks and like overkill and just, you know, your standard wild cards like we had. Another thing he says is that as of now, there is no prestige system in the game. This is kind of worrying, but this is something that is most likely probably going to be coming down the line as we get closer to release. But fingers crossed we actually do get a prestige system in this game. I hated Modern Warfare system, I still do, and I don't play the game almost at all because of that system. He says there is a 6v6 mode is your standard, so it's not going to be Black Ops 4 where it was 5v5. 6v6 is your standard mode, and there is no 2v2 gunfight mode, but Treyarch has playtested a 3v3 mode. Also regarding game modes is that there will not be a full ground war game mode like we had in Modern Warfare. He says there is going to be a mode though that takes place on certain sections of the Warzone map, so kind of think Warzone Rumble, something similar to that, where it kind of either randomly or is pre-generated just sections of the Warzone map that you can play on with a bigger team. And as for Warzone, let's talk about Warzone and all the details we know about this so far. He says that Warzone will take place in Russia, and there is a number of locations he's seen around the map. So first one is Golova. He says another one is called Duga. One is mines, chemical lab, weather station, ski slopes, zoo, Ruka, battery, and sanatorium. Those are the ones he actually saw in the map, and of course the lake in the center of the map. So I'm just going to quote a huge section of his video as he describes the Warzone map. So he says, quote, "There's a big lake kind of in the middle of the map. It's a little bit more to the bottom left of the map. Then on the bottom right of the map, that's the big snowy area. It's a lot of mountains. That's where the ski slopes and weather station is. Then just above that, that's where we've got the chemical labs, and in there's kind of like a swampy area as well that it looks like you'll be able to fight through, and that takes you up towards the mines area, which is in the same position where the quarry is on the Warzone map for Modern Warfare. Then just to the left of that, we've got Duga. Duga is actually a radar station, which is outside of Chernobyl, and he says you can see the big radar station in the map itself. Then to the left of that, on the top left of the screen, we have Golova. Then below that, in the middle left of the screen, we've got battery. Then the bottom left of the screen is the sanatorium, and this is on the south edge of the lake. Then right in the middle of the map, we have Ruka, which appears to be a small city, and this is on the northern tip of the lake. And this is definitely like the big city of the map, even though it doesn't look huge by any means. And then just below that, we have the zoo, which appears to be a zoo. Now overall, just looking at this map overview, which doesn't really give you the best indication of size or anything, if I had to guess, it would be a little bit smaller than the Warzone map in Modern Warfare. It does look to be much more open than the Warzone map, and there's a lot of open areas between each one of these name locations. Unlike Warzone, where a lot of the name locations are connected by smaller locations and clusters of buildings, for instance, you don't see that so much within this map. But again, this is a very early image. Perhaps things will change over time. We'll just have to wait and find out about that, I guess. So that is the end of his video. That's all he said about all the leaks for Black Ops Cold War. That is a lot of leaks. That is a lot of stuff leaked about multiplayer, about Warzone, and even about campaign. We got some details on there. So that is huge. That is currently the biggest leak we've had so far for the game. I'm sure there's still plenty that can be leaked about the game, about like campaign, about characters, more details about multiplayer, game modes, weapons, even more score streaks. A whole bunch of other stuff that can still be leaked, especially zombies. We didn't hear like almost anything about zombies in this, so I'm really curious to see what zombies is going to be like in this game. Let's hear some leaks about that. I hope we can get some of those real soon. Or at least, hey, how about they just give us the official reveal of the game? That would be great, but that's going to do it for our video today, guys. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you guys give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel with notifications on. If you are new around here, every time there's a new leak for Black Ops Cold War, we always cover it on this channel and always report on all the latest news and information about Call of Duty, about Black Ops Cold War, about Warzone, Modern Warfare, and COD Mobile. So make sure you guys subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, and I'll see you guys next time.